Okay, and then this has nothing to do with it, but I'm going to read. No, I'm not going to. I will break the bow of Alam and achieve it their might. I am pretty good at doing it, but he's a bullfrog. Why? Because Jeremiah goes off of 28 and 28 only Job. Now, why does he do that? Because first of all, he can worm, he can cut off the ears of corn, and he can do a lot of stuff with that. And it's always at the letter. So what happened is that they get to mail, they've been mailing stuff like I love you to people, but only it's in letter form because they know that some letters were changed. So these very vicious people, and I'm talking worse than lizards, mail letters with something basically that's contaminated, right? Anthrax is my best friend. Anthrax makes me sure that if you do me and you get hippo disease with your own kind. So, but that's just how it is. Okay, so anyways, this book, I was just about to read it, but I just wanted to be sure that basically they're gonna do it again where they're gonna try to transgender it. I do like Juno Birch, but I'm gonna say that some of it is really like most of it's clothes tech so to it. If you I know what I could do. I will do this in my next video. But this is what it is, it's right here. You have to show the back of it because guys can't do this. They can't go like this and really show it. Like, they can't do this. They can't go like that or that. So that's based off a pussy square. And because they really start acting like they actually hate pussy. And they like to do something that's called Ren and Stinky. And Ren and Stinky used to be a show where basically they would intentionally get one of them. Basically it's called Baron, but Baron is actually a dude who comes up to you afterwards and say, well, don't mess with them. They're drug addicts. Ironically, that is one of the names of Trump's children, I think, anyways. But God bless him, anyways. It's really not the same thing because there's this son's named Baron. But that's really what they do. And they interpret Baron as being a guy. And then you get these two guys that are called Ren and Stinky. And Ren and Stinky usually change voices. They can be like Mick and Eel sort of, or umbilical brothers. And they keep changing, man. They keep changing. And when they do it because of something, but it's really more like that they got the house, or something like that. They got plenty. Yeah. And sometimes, I don't know, it's just, I don't know what it is. I really wanted to get one of them off the mix. Anyway, so here we go. And the other one just runs off all freaked out or whatever. So, Proverbs, the word of the fitly are spoken is like, I just went over the fake gym thing. The word of the fitly is like apples of gold in the pictures of silver. Well, I'm totally like a silver horse. One of the horses that ran for somebody. Because sometimes if it hurts a colonial eye, you have to go through layers and layers of bullshit of why it happened. Like bunch of bullshit. And I probably didn't get everything or see everything or whatever you want to call it. So, I wanted to do it, but I don't know if I'll find it in here. They'll try to do a Vashti thing right for the Mordecai thing, which is actually, it's based off of Simpson stuff. But the one with the Veterans Day thing is because they started calling people animals. And there's a lot of animal videos that are actually like, comes from that thing. So what I was saying is, like, in one of her birth videos, there's probably the maid is a regular woman, but and some of these, when I'm talking about Lincoln, Eel, Ren, and Sticky and all the way up, like, the maid is usually a regular lady, maybe cheating, but that's really the truth. And that if they had done exactly what makes Job actually justified, even though they were like, oh, you can't tell God what to do, and then God just said, yeah, whatever, blah, 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 yeah, you can't tell me what to do, and then he justified him, because this is all fucking, like, hell. This fucking book is, to me, sometimes hell and sometimes not hell. I hate reading how many times people went to Egypt again, and then it gets kicked out, and, like, where it's like, do you want my cup of water that almost killed Jesus, or, like, what do you want? No, I'm just kidding. I can do the waters of Mariba a little well. Okay, but it's probably the worst one, and that's the one where the chicks' faces start crescenting like a moon. Like, a lot of chicks start going like this, but, like, freaking tombs, like the ones that are using things from body parts and things like that. I went over the Civil War thing, how, like, he'd be a baby if he fought in the Civil War. Probably not even a baby, probably wouldn't even be born. But I'll tell you one thing. Ted. Now, Ted, the guy, whoever Ted was saying was like the guy, might be about 80 years old or so. Maybe a little bit older. Okay, so anyways, and he might be the closest damn thing that did Samuel right again, but Dan, yeah. Okay, but no, I wouldn't, no, I wouldn't do it. So yeah, he's after right. So I'm gonna read Job again. One more for Job. So the Samuel one, Dan one, the guy comes to me and says, he's a prophet. I was like, so you want me to take you to the laundry thing because they're doing drugs too? Is that what it was gonna? I'll explain this. Okay. This is 100% true. The first colonial I met was in high school, and we were in school together. And one day he came to class and said, do you want to get high in the basement? This was the Mexican one. He died a little bit later, and I have a feeling that they might have called him a white woman. But I'm not sure, because they like to change things. And then said the other guy was probably, like the colonial I talked to now, who is actually American Indian, a homeless white male. I'm pretty sure. But the other ones, I'm not exactly sure. I know that if they do the Assyria thing, they pretty much, if they called that one, then they said the king of Assyria was a white woman. Yeah, I guarantee. And then that means actually the male characteristics still fall on the other girl's side, but then this rule that came out of Africa that says every woman is a black male, because there's no prostitution legalized in there, and the only place it's legalized is in this place you could drive out of like in 10 seconds, which is Pahrump. And somehow it still sort of happened. I'm not exactly sure why in Las Vegas they were able to do it. And then one day someone told me, and they said they just call every woman a black man. That's the bull from Africa. That's maybe one of the ones that sat on the tree, but it could be the other one too. Desperate.